Alright, donc bonjour tout le monde. Today I wanted to make a video on applied integrity economics. So we'll get going straight away. As you know, we have many problems in the world, and one of them I think is pretty clear. It's actually at the level of human consciousness. We're stuck into black and white thinking, which we can call dual thinking, where we only think that there's one or two options. We are not allowed or not giving ourselves permission to go into multidimensional thinking. There's another problem, which is the cult of righteousness. This is in full display at the White House, as you can see yesterday, but it's also every day in everyday life. There is the quest for mutual understanding and co-creation is not happening. What we're seeing is everyone striving to be right, and the notion of self-worth and the notion of identity is really linked to how right someone is perceived to be in their own world. So here we have a big problem, and this is a huge problem because it's really small thinking. Because in many things, as we can see in engineering, when we do simulation theory, we have multiple parameters, and you can have, out of 15 parameters, 12 can be right, 2 can be wrong, and it doesn't mean that the solution is right or wrong. It just means that we are creating something. We have 13 parameters that are working, 2 are not working, and if someone complains about the 2 that are not working, it doesn't dismiss that the 13 other are working, and it's not unicorn thinking to mention that 13 are working, 2 are not working, and then we can start and transforming the 2 that are not working to make the 15 working. Unfortunately, people will say, oh, your solution doesn't work, this is not working, and then the other one will say, oh, but it's working here. But it's like, yeah, and it's not mutually exclusive. Everything can be happening at the same time, where you can have 13 parameters that work and 2 that don't work at the same time. And really, for me, when I see that, it's a great source of confusion and really pain. When I look at everyone just arguing constantly over facts and truths, whereas all those facts and truths are all happening at once. What I mean by that is that, yes, the US government sent or allowed Ukraine to have X billions of dollars. This is a fact. Soldiers in Ukraine from the Ukrainian population are dying. This is a fact. Europe is like this. This is a fact. It's not like, you sent me 100, but Europe is this. Oh, but my people, what the fuck is this? So for me, like that's where everything fails, is that reality. When I think about going into multidimensional thinking, I really mean, multifactorial, if we could call it that way. But for me, it's really the best example is really in calculus, when we move from single variable to multivariable. And it's exactly like this in real life. People are stuck in single variable management. People are stuck in thinking that there's only X to solve for, but it is a multivariable equation. And on my journey right now, I'm working on a model where there's 30 parameters. So that creates for much more flexibility, much more realism, and much more precision in strategic thinking and in alignment. However, it requires to take a step back and really acknowledge and think and really evaluate what is happening. It's like a doctor with the human body. It's not like, oh, your arteries are not working, boom, diagnostic. It's like, okay, your arteries are not working. That's the first sign. This is a fact. Okay, the lungs are working. This is another fact. It's not your arteries are working, but your lungs are working, or oh, but your brain is fine. No, it's like your brain is fine, and your lungs are working, and your arteries are blocked. It's all happening at the same time. And that, for me, even when I speak about it, I feel so much anger, because I'm like, yeah, guys, are you stupid? Like, what the fuck is wrong with like this absolute hand holding, like this grasp on reality where it's like, my single parameter, is it right? I state that it is right. Yeah, okay, yes, US sent $100 billion, and Ukrainians are dying at war, and the mineral deal is not a great deal. It's not like it can all happen, and then we can see and we can evaluate and say like, okay, this is fact, this is fact, this is fact, and all those facts constitute reality, which people will call truth. But in my own worldview, this is the greatest, most painful fight, the fight for truth, where truth is the addition of all the perspectives in the world. Every human has a different perspective based on their own configuration, their own journey, their own environment, ecosystem. And when we add the 8 billion humans and the billions of animals and the plants and consciousness, we need to see the life as the multitudes of perspectives. And this is what, if we had consciousness going through everyone to experience life, this is truth, is the overarching consciousness that permeates all of us in our single journey. Therefore, the notion of truth at the individual level is nonsense. And that for me is the first thing I want to remove, is the notion of truth. Can we just state facts, factuality over truth? Because fact is concrete. It's not truth. Oh, it's the truth that, my mouse is in my hand. It's the truth. It's just a fact. It's a fact. It's something that's happening, that is observable, that is measurable. And that's it. Then when we go into the truth of, the human needs and the human emotions, once again, emotions are facts. And that is the second thing that we needs to change in this society, is that emotions are perceived as something that, creates a distortion on the path of rationality, whereas wouldn't be possible, and isn't it actually reality and factuality, that emotion is a response to inner dialogue through the amygdala? And as well, could it even be greater than this? And could emotion be actually the language of the unmet or met needs, as Marshall Rosenberg mentioned it? And then the inner dialogues amplifies, or actually sends a message to the emotional response, and the emotional response acts like makes you feel something, depending on if your inner dialogue and what you're saying to the world as well is in line with meeting your needs or not. So is there a possibility that we have all reversed, where we think that consciousness is only in our brain, that rationality and the logical mind is all there is, and that everything else is actually a hindrance into living a purely rational life? Couldn't it be possible that instead we are emotional beings, social beings, with the immense gift of intelligence that comes as a second perk, where the first perk is the gift of feeling, and the gift of feeling is the gift of having universal needs, and we are beings that thrive and aspire to solve all of their needs at once for what we can deem paradise on earth. However, right now, because we see it as the rational being the grandiose thing, we have it reversed. So first of all, it's important to understand that in a new world, we need to go back to the basics of Carl Jung. We need to go back to the basics of Marshall Rosenberg. We need to take the message from the prophets and really make it super simple. It's easy. You can just go on ChatGPT, Claude, just ask. You'll see. The message is simple. It's about the Sacred Heart. The one thing they all say, which comes down to the most important message, which is actually exactly what I'm saying, that it's not about the sacred mind, it's the Sacred Heart. Why the Sacred Heart? Because it's feeling, it's the source beyond the feeling even. It's the source, it's the message, it's the little crystal that we all have, every being. has that inner magic, and this is where the needs are met or not met, and then the emotions arise from that, and then the mind is a tool to really make sure that we can take the different variables that we see and the different things that we have in our life, interact with others to state what are the met needs and the unmet needs, and then co-create a reality into which the needs of the individual are met and the needs of the community are met as well. Because the human needs is not only about the human needs, we need to go deeper. What is the human? We don't even know what is the human. Nobody has a shared understanding. So that's why I'm stating that the human is three things. In this new world, the axiom is the following. The human is selfish in fulfilling his or her needs first. Okay? That's it. So that's axiom number one. The human individual wants to fulfill his or her needs and will prioritize his or her needs. Fantastic. This is number one. Number two, the human being needs to be in communion with his community. He needs to see his community doing well for him to also feel well. Because one of those selfish needs is the needs for community and understanding and mutuality. Therefore, we have a great paradox where the human is selfish in his quest to fulfill his needs. However, how beautiful that in one of his needs, the need for the community to thrive is also there. Therefore, that is the one thing to solve. And that's what I'm bringing to the world, is this solving of the paradox, where we can finally make the quest, the inner quest for the personal legend, the personal journey, that it englobes, it thrives through the success of the community, which then brings the importance of active listening, empathy, intelligence into the mix, because the successful human needs to be in tune with what is happening to really understand where are his needs met, where is his needs unmet, where is the needs of the people around him met, where are the needs of the people around him not met. But this is only possible through active listening and being attuned and really knowing and really dancing. And this is when we go into the great dance of Nataraya and the Shiva dancing, where the big dance, the fluidity, the agility of being self-aware and also aware of the external environment, which reflects, and that is the great beauty, which at the spiritual level is a potential reflection of the inner world of the individual. So it is this quest between loneliness and communion, this quest between individuality and community. And now is the time, if we want to move to the next level, to bridge them, to bring them together, and to really create environments where finally we have the individual that is thriving to fulfill his or her needs to the maximum, while making sure that the needs of the community are met at the maximum as well. So everything I do, everything I'm going to share with you over the course of this journey is really about making sure that you guys have all the tools to transcend and move to the next level. I've done it myself. I'm paid really well in my life to implement this in real life, especially in dental clinics, which are brutal environments in real time, where strategy and care happen at the same time without any layers of management. So it's real time. Yes, there is a reality into which, dentists are greedy and all that stuff. And that's what I combat, because both my parents are dentists and they are really people that care so much. But the challenge and the multivariability of the thing is so hard. So I thought, if I can solve dentistry, I can solve the world. And today, this is really me sharing exactly the conclusions of 10 years of work, which started in December 2014 and are now in February 2025. March 1st, 2025. And I really want to make sure that you guys and girls and extraterrestrials get the opportunity to experience a new world that is not based upon manipulation, strength, in the sense of like brute forcing. I should say brute forcing, because beautiful empowerment and strength is absolutely at the core of everything you're going to hear. But it's important to go beyond the mental structure of this current world, because clearly the mental structure of this current world is creating harm. And yesterday we saw it at the White House. Really, in my view, I perceive teenagers, even childs, not able to communicate their needs, pointing fingers, and really unable to move beyond the understanding that at the root of life is the opportunity to fulfill needs at the maximum amount of level, so that we can co-create together and use the amazing resources that the planet, that Mother Earth puts to our disposition, so that we can create an amazing reality on Earth instead of being stuck in the paradigm of exploitation, extraction, exploitation and extraction, and really this notion of constant grip that just wants to extract more and more and more and more and more, and try to gain out of exploitation. So I'm repeating myself. Essentially, the end of this brutal time where we're stuck between capitalism and socialism, in my view, in my life, has ended, because it has clearly failed. It had a time, it had 300 years, 200 years, 100 years, 50 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years to demonstrate that it could bring us somewhere. But this has failed. We can see it with Gary's economics, teaching amazing perspectives and knowledge on the inequality that is rising. Not only rising, but has just been absolutely atrocious, and the greed and the even though the common sense of taxing the rich and making sure that the working population can still aspire is logical, still does not happen. And it's not about, is Gregory about taxing the rich or not, because it's not about that. It's about what are the needs that are met and unmet. Right now we have a population that most of their needs for financial security is not met. Their needs for understanding is not met. Their need for understanding is not met. Their need for clarity is not met. Their need for neutrality is not met. Their need for transcendence is not met. And we have people on the other side where their need, even though they have billions of dollars, their need for security, financial security, is still not met. And that's when there is an imbalance, and there is a lack of education, and there is a lack of perspective to really move forward and explain a system that can really benefit all. So the beauty that we have today is that we have all the technology, we have everything to truly succeed as a human population. The only problem that we have is not race, is not who comes from where, but it's really at the mental structure, the mental patterns. This is what inhibits us from growing, and the sadness, the despair from the younger generations, the confusion, the anger, the lack of understanding from the older generations in front of technology, in front of a world that is moving fast and leaving everyone that's not following, just coping in the back. There's a huge trauma, a huge separation, and it's time to bring it back, and this will happen through communication. And it has the heart of applied integrity economics. A new economic model needs to arise, and this is what I will show you, because at the root we need to really understand that we've been greatly put astray because of how the accountants, how the economics, and how the finance people have been unable to gather themselves and create a world that makes sense. And I don't like putting blame, but in my heart and in my world, if there is one to blame, it is the accountant. And that's why I'm becoming accounting, because the accountant has really failed to understand what his profession was about, and his understanding and his ability to create a system that tracks the transfer of value. There's been a misunderstanding about value. There's been a misunderstanding on management that can arise from the collection of this data, and it's only been a push towards more exploitation, more commoditization, more greed, more what Porter calls cost leadership, and the understanding of value from Porter's Michael Porter is, in my view, wrong. So we here once again could be seen as, oh, cult of righteousness, but it's not about that. It's because some parameters have been omitted, and the equations that we've been working on in the business world are really weak compared to the quality of mathematics, medicine, engineering, and even on the financial side, the energy that has been put to create, like, amazing, powerful models. But this has not happened in the world of real business understanding, and even the word business, I think, should not even exist. We should see it as an art. What if business was actually an art, the art of helping, co-creating, the art of creating value, positive transformational value that creates prosperity for a maximum amount of people in the community, so that community can be stable and thrive. This might be unicorn talk for you, but I guarantee you it is real. It is already happening in my reality, and I want to share it with you because I'm growing really tired of seeing this world and all the obstacles that I myself face as well in in my daily work, because the educational gap between the possibilities of life and what people's life is about is so big that it makes no sense. Education really is the way forward, and education needs to be about much more than perpetuating an exploitative industrial model. Education needs to be centered around the development, the empowerment, and the flourishing of the child, the teenager, and the adult. And this quest for status, this quest for being better than others through education really needs to stop. It only creates separation. It is a brutal way to instill competition on intelligence from a young age, which doesn't resonate and is not even aligned with the idea and the potential and the actual science of neuroplasticity, and the idea that intelligence, communication, empathy can all be really improved when things are slowed down to the pace of the individual, which is facing the new knowledge and the new situation to integrate. So here we're really entering an era of prosperity, but for the prosperity to happen, it needs to be clear that the prosperity is a consequence. And for the first time, what I want to bring is a model where prosperity, wealth are a complete consequence of having really sat down, taught, mastered the art of proper configuration, proper decision making, the art of what brings things to life. And when I say it brings things to life, whether it's a business, whether it's a piece of art, whether it's music, whether it's communication, workshops, yoga courses, boxing courses, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is everything emerges as an intuition, as an idea, as a vision, as an intention. And we need to be able to recognize that when we have a building, there is the ideation, there is the planning, there is the decision, there is a lot of processes from the original intent of the architect, designer, or engineer until the constructors and the workers bring it to life. And we need to start realizing that what we've seen in the world of construction is exactly what happens in our life, where every day we are the own architects, designers, engineers, and the workers of our own life. And this needs to stop, because when we see ourselves only as the workers, or only as the architect, or only as one part, and then we argue, we're still falling prey to the cult of righteousness, because it is multivariable. Once again, the key is moving from single variable thinking and management, especially in management. I've worked for 10 years. I've seen countless managers in the dental world. I've seen managers as well when I was working in internships at SNC Lavalin when I was 20. I've seen managers at Danone when I did my first internship at 18. I've gone through incubators, and it's incredible how management is stuck into single variable thinking, unable to communicate. And what the saddest part is how the workers that are deemed at the lowest level, the ones that are actually creating the transformation, have been ripped off from the value they bring to the world. It's as if the world of idea, which I call the world of management, is extracting, but the concrete transformation that needs to happen for it to work at the end of the value chain is ripped off of its value. And yes, there is recognition. There needs to be recognition for people that have ideas, take the risk, and bring this forward. But we cannot live in a world where the ones that have the ideas, and interestingly, the ones that have ideas are also the ones that have the capital, because in order to be able to think, to make something work, you need some time. You need to be, not necessarily in leisure, but you need to be in a space of creativity, which cannot happen when you're in a state of survival. And we are employing the state of survival at the lowest level of creation, the transformation, hope, and stripping everything away to feed the people with the money that brings the ideas. But in the way the ideas are built, the model doesn't flow. It's just an accumulation. And that's just, absolute bullshit. It is a pattern. It's a behavior that is unsustainable, creates pain, creates the anger, creates sadness, confusion, creates rage, the perceived injustice. And it's not only perceived, but why I say perceived is because there is a reality into which justice does not exist in nature, and it is a human construct. So this is also the world that I'm bringing, is how can we transcend justice and morality? Not that we live so that we don't live in a world of justice and morality, but that we can totally transcend the model and go into a new definition of ethics that allows for everyone to sit and stop constantly being in hypervigilance and stuck in guilt complexes, or that's on the one side, and on the other side on narcissism, megalomania, and all those disease, those mental patterns that are destructive. How can we move beyond and really create something fantastic together? I think the word is together, because the individual cannot feel satisfied, what is all we're all striving is that feeling of satisfaction. And the feeling of satisfaction, where does it come from? It comes from the needs being fulfilled. And the needs that are fulfilled is Marshall Rosenberg's greatest work. It is In My Heart, the 8th, the 9th, I don't know where we're at now, but it is a marvel of the world. And he did the work. And I don't know what's happening, but when we see the discussion of the White House yesterday, clearly the proper mechanism and the understanding that every action, every word, every thought is simply a mechanism, a vehicle to try to achieve and fulfill a need has not been understood. So it is the end of manipulation that we are going to go into. It is the end of striving to be better than the other. It is the end of manipulative behaviors that aim at taking advantage of the other. It is the end of trying to engineer the social environment to fulfill the needs of the individual. And it is the time for the individual leading the way into reshaping its environment through adequate, excellent, empowering, beautiful communication. That is the era, because communication is the only medium that we have to exchange in between our individual world. If communication does not exist, I'm in my world, I am not reaching out to you. Communication is the gift, is the way we share ideas, is the way we can make sure that the mutual needs are met, is the way we can decide together. And I do feel so much anger, because I'm like, what I'm saying right now, this has been discovered. Young, Rosenberg. But we're stuck in some Darwinian crap, some Aristotle crap as well, some Freudian crap, because the idealization of the mind over the matter, okay, over reality, the mind over the feeling, the mind over everything, the quest for the mind has rigged us from the pleasure of life. And I feel anger because I'm coming into this world that has had prophets, messages from different religions, different parts of the world, are saying the same thing. No one seems to have deeply listened. No one seems to have simply Go back, the sutras, clean, love, universal love. No, this is unicorn, judgment, judgment, judgment. This is a disgrace to the potential of life. And yes, when I say that, I am of course judging myself. When I say disgrace, it's simply the inability, the confusion, and the fear of just stepping back, taking some time, and removing the cause and effect relationships that are all pretty much false that we live into this world. Hypervigilance all the time. Oh, I'm thinking this, what's going to happen? I'm doing this, what's going to happen? No. I'm feeling this, what's happening? No. Look, you can be resting inside, thinking, doing, seeing, listening, at peace. The moment is a moment of rest, and we are making it absolutely a frenzy that is impossible to rest in and to strive on. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can all strive. And one thing I haven't talked about but comes to mind is going beyond the drama triangle. The drama triangle is also an amazing tool where we have the victim, the perpetrator, and the savior. And this is the state of human consciousness. And we need to address that not as a freaking woo-woo concept, but really look at yourself into the mirror, and every time that you are complaining, see it as, okay, I am being a victim here, or I am being a perpetrator. And then see how the only way you know how to get out of that is to start taking saving actions that you deem as saving or as altruism. But be aware that altruism can be manipulative if it is not rooted into the needs that you are trying to fulfill, and the emotional integrity and the emotional intelligence to really lead with what is true for you. And what I mean true for you is really the facts, the umbrella that, underneath the umbrella, all the facts. I am feeling this way. This need is not met. My thinking is this. When I see this, I see that this is not working according to this instructions. This are all facts happening at once. Multivariable thinking, multivariable life, multivariable reality, which we live in. This is not woohoo. This is mathematics. Okay? And I feel anger because it's like, what do you need? What do you need? What is the unmet need that you have that makes you so rebel, so alone in your thinking, that makes you so closed-minded? And when I ask this question, the first thing that I hear is automatically the need for validation. So if that may help anyone, let me help feel it. You are amazing. You are validated by your own existence. Okay? The life is the gift, and now it's about taking this gift and honoring it by communicating it properly and learning self-expression, which is the hardest, the most difficult. You are great. You are phenomenal. You have everything inside of you. And once again, when we go back, we go into the cheesy thing. But it's not about the cheesy thing. It's the fact that all the needs are within yourself, and all the strategies to fulfill them are already within yourself. And if they're not within yourself, you can learn how to do better. And that is a choice that is yours as well. And you have it inside of you. So when the spiritual guides mention you have everything within, from my personal experience, what that means is that all the choices are yours. And this argumentation of like, do we have self? Do we have free will? Of course, look right now. I'm sharing this. Oh, right now I choose to think about a strawberry. Boom, free will in action. I get to choose. No, but was it really you, or was it like God? No. This is an externalization of power. You have the power. You have the power of choice. You think of a banana, you think of a raspberry. In 1 second, millisecond, you can think of so many things you are choosing, because you're unaware of your choice because you are ruled by the flow of emotion that are most probably negative in feeling, but they're not negative, they're just strong and painful because they try to tell you, hey, all the needs that are here are not met, so we'll make you feel like shit until you realize, because you're not doing anything to help this crystal of love being seen and being beautiful and being shared, with the world. You're constrained and you're sad and you're alone and you're ruminating and you're catastrophizing and you're suffering from hindsight bias. What if bad? No, it is time to go into one of the greatest mental skills I've learned from a course on Mind Valley, Eric Mendes from memory on the financial blueprint, and it's the hindsight window. It's time to start looking into the future and use that skill of what if in the past and do it, what if in the future? What if this worked out? What if this that just happened? How is it the most beautiful gift? This choice from going from the hindsight bias to the hindsight window is one of the greatest skill. It is one of the greatest skill I've seen, because we have the cycle of the entrepreneur and the human being in challenges where we have the unaware optimism, and then it goes into the valley of despair, and then it goes into like conscious optimism. But to move through this and realize that we're always moving higher and higher and higher. In financial term, we have higher highs, but to really have higher highs, we need to have that hindsight window and really honor that everything we do, the learning opportunity, is about realizing that we progress. And that's why I'm also bringing the progress mindset. We went in the last 10 years in my personal journey, I went from the fixed mindset to the growth mindset to the progress mindset. And that transition is what brought applied integrity economics and all of the tools, the Siddhar loop, everything I'm going to share with you in this amazing journey of allowing for every seed of life, this crystal that we all have in our heart, to blossom through our experience, personal experience, as we learn to fulfill our needs and the needs of others in this opportunity to create, co-create, to materialize concretely paradise on earth. And this idea of what is paradise on earth also needs to be reevaluated, because as of today, it was seeded from an individualistic and competitive mindset based in either socialism or capitalism. So we need to reevaluate what is paradise on earth, what is sustainability. Right now, DEI, ESG, all going trashed. Okay, fine. You want to trash it, but let's take a step back. What were those strategies of ESG and DEI? What were they trying to fulfill? They were trying to fulfill some needs of understanding, some needs of sustainability, of stability. If you don't like it, it's fine, but the needs still need a strategy to be met. And that's why, for me, it's not rooted in capitalism or socialism or the single variable thinking. It is based into a new era. It is based into an era of cosmic love that can be felt and really be shared at a human level, at a communion with nature, communion with the animals. That doesn't mean becoming vegan, everyone. No, it means having respect for the amazingness and the mystery of life in this and every moment. The wonders that you see, if for the ones that have children, the wonders that you see in the child of your eye, the eyes of your child. This is what is a reflection of your own curiosity that you've either nourished or simply let die. But once again, this is a choice. Don't be harsh on yourself. Then we need to move away from the guilt complex. The guilt complex, I think, is one of the greatest diseases that we see on this earth. And then the second greatest disease thing is the hindsight bias with catastrophizing, which leads to what the psychiatrists call depression. But I personally believe that depression is a symptom of a greater disease. It is the inability to have mastery over the relationship between needs, emotions, and thoughts. Which brings me to ask you, what is the smallest action that a human can take? In my worldview, the smallest action is the choice. Nothing is simpler, less, and more efficient than a choice. The choice, the thought, the changing of thought is the smallest action, because if I think I am failing, I am on a trajectory, right away I can change. I am succeeding, I am on a different trajectory. This was an action. And this is what we need to realize, is that action is not only working with your hands or working in the material plane. Action is the self-reflection, is the self-improvement, is the self-analysis. But this happens at the thought level. You can journal, that's an action, but you can also self-reflect. And that self-reflection, that choice of thought, that has direct psychological, it's a neuropsychobiological impact in your life, is the game changer. And what I'm speaking about is researched. Look into the flow. Look into flow states, flow science. Look at Stephen Kotler. This is elite. I've had the chance to be coached by elite people that are, gold medalist, Paralympic gold medalist, one in particular, and at the highest levels. It's about cultivating a beautiful environment that is sustainable, empowering, and really enriching the athlete's life, the entrepreneur's life, the artist's life. This is the best of the best, the ones that are sustainable through time. So why is it that the population sees that as only a quest for righteous discipline and the killing of joy, whereas the greatest athletes are all talking about the joy, nourishing the progress, and nourishing really those moments of absolute sense of mastery over matter. But it's not over matter, it's with matter, when the mind, the emotions, the needs become one with reality, and you get to experience your dream in real time, which for me is the supreme quest. And this is why I'm here. It's demonstrating that it is possible to live within your dream, and this is it. This is it, and we all have this potential, and living within one's dream is, in my view, the potential of the Sacred Heart, the potential of divine life, the potential of divine smile. I'll introduce the smile of life to you, which is my little philosophy. Breathe, smile of life, never settle / always expand. So this really is about grace. And right now it might feel alien, it might feel weird, because the world is shit. But the world is shit only from perspectives that have not understood the potential of seeing this era as the greatest catalyst into greater alignment with cosmic love and cosmic grace. And those words are not woohoo, they are real, they are concepts, they are alignment, they are feelings of deep satisfaction with oneself and the world. And this is only possible once the barriers and the mental blocks of single variable thinking and judgment and the cult of righteousness are transcended, to go into the world of multivariable understanding, multivariable thinking, the world of continuous feedback loops that are genuine, based on love, based on progress, based on honoring the cycle from the unaware optimism to the despair to the conscious optimism, and really embodying the navigator aspect of life. We are constantly living into what the Navy SEALs call the VUCA, volatility, uncertainty. I forgot what the C is, and the A as well. My bad. But the VUCA is really what a perspective on life is. And we need to learn to navigate the uncertainty, the volatility, and really have the tools. And the tools will not be technology. Technology will help us navigate, but the navigation happens at the individual level within oneself. When you are alone with yourself, how are you navigating? The navigation is the skill, the upgrade in consciousness, the upgrade in mental patterns, the upgrade in the understanding of life is the next level. We are the technology. This is beautiful, You are beautiful. The human body is the greatest technology. And this is what we need to go back to and really, 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 really make sure that we understand that what we're creating artificially and through, as of today, the exploitation of nature's resources will never bring us closer to the deep feeling of satisfaction that lies within, that can only be met through the understanding that our needs and the needs of others need to be met for the deep feeling of satisfaction to be felt and apparent, which can already be done at individual level through the power of imagination and cultivating a sacred world and redefining even what religion is, and redefining politics and redefining health and redefining the current world, because clearly this current world has failed us all, and now it is time to shine. We can also say that it has succeeded in the sense that we're still here, we still have the opportunity in this and every moment to shine, and right now is the time of big contrast, as our amazing, beautiful friend would say, the word of contrast. I forgot her name and the consciousness, but that she channels. But essentially, Abraham Hicks, the notion of contrast is right now amazing. So see everything that you see as the world as I don't like this, and say thank you. Don't try to fix the old pipes. Bring the new ones, build the new ones. And today my game and what I want to bring to the world is really helping everyone build on a new foundation. And I hope that my work can help you save countless lives and time and efforts into jumping into this new opportunity to live gracefully every day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.